Hey guys, it's Julie. Happy New Year. It is 2019. Got a bit of a different setup here. We're trying new things and such. You know, still ain't all the way there yet because you can't see none of my Smart Brown Girl pillows. You know, we gotta get the marketing on it. So, you know, shop Smart Brown Girl. We now have the Black Women Are Valuable t-shirts and a sweatshirt. This is one of my favorite sweatshirts. It's just so daggone. So one of my biggest requests from last year was for me to do a book list. I did not do more than one. I did one at the beginning of the year, then do another one because people don't really watch these. Y'all ask for them, but don't nobody watch them. You know, equity-ish, but here we are. You know, I can fulfill your request at least once a year. So let's just get into what I read last year. And I think tentatively, I'm just gonna put it all into one video. What I read last year and what I plan on reading this year. We'll see, you know. Who knows how I feel in the next 15 minutes. I'm not supposed to be driving to Raleigh to go see No Name. And the show starts at 7. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8. It's currently 7. It's definitely a 2-hour drive. Girl, pray for me. We can get this done. In no particular order, I'm just gonna go through everything I read because I tried to record this before, but my mic wasn't working. So this is the second go around. Remember to talk slowly for the people in the back. First up, Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper. She did gender studies at, I believe, Emory's Black Feminist Writing. It is definitely a very good read. I think it's especially good for those who are not particularly familiar with Black American Southern culture, because to be honest, I read it word for word about 2/3 in, and then the last third I kind of skimmed it because for me it did get a little repetitive because I was like, girl, I get it, you grew up in the South with your Black grandmom in a Black church. I know this life, I get this life, but you also have to remember that books like this tend to not be specifically just written for Black women or Black American women at that they are written for a larger audience, and they're often edited by people that are not Black American women, African American women, right? And so I felt like this isn't a knock on the book because it is a good book, but I did feel like I got into it a little bit and I was like, okay, girl, I get it, but I remember, you know, there are plenty of other people that are reading this that have no frame of reference for the colloquialisms or the sort of language that she's using to express a certain scenario. So for the people in the back, she did that, and this is a good read. I read this in Jamaica. You know, I'm a Brian Stevenson stan. Be trying to work for EJI for the past 2 years. It's been happening in 2019. Put it in the universe, put it in the air. Pray for me, light a candle. Thank you. I'm a little bit concerned that Michael B. Jordan is portraying Brian Stevenson in a Hollywood play, in a Hollywood movie. I don't know what Hollywood is going to do with this book, but I hope they do all of it because this is a really good read on the sort of sacrifice that actual activism takes, and understanding that activism is not about one person or one sort of celebrity, that there is a lot of personal sacrifice, a lot of work on the ground, and this whole web and system of players that really has to work in order to even just liberate an individual. So imagine really trying to liberate the Black community and what that really means. And Brian Stevenson has really taken on that sort of sacrifice. So this is a great read. And it can be a bit heavy, but I feel like it's accessible in that you can read it on your own. And it's a book you're gonna want to talk about, but you don't necessarily need to have like this community of people that also read books. You know, some of us don't live in an intellectual bubble. It's not all that accessible for everyone. So I'm thinking about y'all. You can read this. Chessman War, I also read this while we were in Jamaica. Men We Reaped. I got this book because I really like loved Sing Berry Sing on the plane to Hong Kong, crying and ish. Read it in a plane ride. It was a really good book. This is a memoir. This is like a piece of nonfiction essentially, and I had a little bit of a harder time, you know. I think the heaviness of her writing, the sort of mysticism that she inserted in her fiction work made the book a little bit more easier for me to digest. This is just like, damn nigga, this shit just said. And it just kind of is like, damn. But still a good book. She has a MacArthur Genius Award because she's a genius. I preferred her latest book, Sing Berry Sing, the fiction writing, but you know, you kind of want to read the breadth of someone's work so you can have a better understanding of who they are, and that's what this book gives. Kisei Lamont, How to Slowly Kill Yourself and Others in America. I'll never feel like I'm saying his name correctly. I read 2 of his books this year. This one, I don't know if this is his first writing, but this is one of his earlier writings. It is a collection of essays. He is an excellent writer. I did not feel like this was coherent though, but it is a collection of essays. I don't know that it was meant to entirely be coherent. And he has a chapter in there where he lets his other friends, some of them who I know in real life, write, and just no shade, no tea, but like, you too good of a writer to be letting niggas write next to you. It makes their writing feel lackluster compared to how good of a writer you is. But I appreciated this book nonetheless. Did a whole review on An American Marriage because I really enjoyed reading this, even though I do have critiques about how the book ended. But that's because the characters were so familiar. I know Roy and Celestial. I know a few of them hoes. All right, so read the book, watch my review, because I started a little discussion for y'all. But this is a really, this is like for your girl group. This could be a movie. Is it gonna be a movie? I think it might be. This was good. Y'all know I like Barracoon. Y'all know I read Barracoon because I'm a Zora Neale Hurston. Damn, duh. Smart Brown Girl OG. I got a picture of her on the bag. I did a whole video. People try to come for me because their comprehension skills are slightly limited and y'all won't pay attention to what I'm actually saying. Y'all like to interject your own whack-ass theories that never came out of my mouth. I don't do pseudo-black history. You can try again though. Go watch my video, even though it's a bit uncomfortable because this does inspire a very difficult conversation about the transatlantic slave trade and the role that Africans had in kidnapping and selling other Africans into slavery. And the truth of the matter, the conversation is complex and complicated, but it does not end on a you versus them theory because we all got hurt. We all got fucked over by colonialism, all right? Ain't nobody win. Ain't nobody black won in that ish. Second book by Kisei. Ooh. It's just like a Congolese name for joy or something. It's a beautiful name. I just don't never trust the way I'm saying it. But Black Abundance, the Audible of this, my Audible link is down below. Text 500, Julesy to 500, help a hoe out. But this book on Audible, bruh. I read it and then got the Audible. It was that good. Read it twice low key. Black Abundance. This just was like, if you especially for it just has so much African American culture, so much references to things that like my middle school experience, my high school experience, and I'm about a good 5, maybe 10 years younger than homeboy. But like, I got it, get it, Freaknik. It wasn't a reference to Freaknik in this. Maybe there was. But it was like that sort of like intellectual but still from the hood. And I was just like, things he was saying, you thought maybe it was just you and your friends did, but you realized like everyone did it. Black Abundance, my nigga. And if you read this ish with your homeboys, read this with your boyfriend, read it with the nigga you let waste your time, read it with him, because this really is a book about black male identity in America, the trauma your body ingests, the ways in which you feed into, I'm gonna make it sound real deep, and it is real deep, but it's also real easy to read. All right, tell a nigga to read a book and let him read that one. Foundational Black Feminist Theory. Y'all know I am going to this year apply for my PhD. I've been putting it off for the past 2 years while just talking about it because I didn't feel like I was there. And there's other things that go into it that I will talk about in other videos. But I had to read this because I want to study African American history, particularly black women during the Reagan era. And this is just foundational black feminist history and theory. You have to read, but some of us are brave. Duh. And it comes with all these references in the back. It looks dense, but it's actually a very accessible and easy, I don't want to say super easy, but it's a book that's easy for you to read and study on your own without feeling like, like the syntax isn't complex or difficult, The language isn't like super archaic and like highbrow. The Hate You Give, I really only read this book because I wanted to be able to fully critique the movie. And I think this is a good book to read if you have teenagers in the household, reading it as a family, because part of encouraging critical dialogue and better comprehension skills is through dialogical education. It's through a dialogue, right? It's through being able to talk through and summarize and say what questions and what feelings and like how does this connect to me arise. And you can do that within your own household by simply reading fun books with your kids. How did I get this way? My daddy and my mama used to read to me, so we used to read together as a family. Read this as a family. Movie, you can watch my movie review. Wasn't feeling it. This book made me log off Twitter, bruh. No shade, no tea, because everyone has different entry points and different levels of access. But I am personally appreciative that I did not get my education or wokeness via Tumblr or Facebook memes. Sis, write some books. Woo! Cause this Kill all normies. Online culture wars from 4chan and Tumblr to Trump and the alt-right. This book dragged. It wasn't even talking about me, but it dragged me. It just gets into like the sticks of like the binary ways in which we like to set things that aren't actually meant to be binary, that we do live in a world with a lot of gray, right? And we set these highbrow ethical standards that we can't even live up to ourselves because we participate in scarcity, because we want to succeed over others. We are all ingesting a form of power. Don't let that patriarchy get too deep into you, sis. And it was like, we have to be careful about it in the ways that we discuss things. It was like, there really was a section where she was basically like, the way we use victimhood and callousness simultaneously to evict people, which I also read in just these white women be dragging the fuck out of y'all about canceling folk, about cancel culture. Girl, they ain't talking about me. Why I'm Not a Feminist by Jessica Crispin. She also discusses this kind of like, when you cancel people, where do they go? Where? What is this doing in the long run? And how is this going to come back to bite us in the ass and be used against us? And this basically kind of traces how online culture has manifested, what's come of it. And it does kind of acknowledge that Tumblr was a really good space, especially for people who had multiple intersections in which they lived, and being able to come about and have language for their identities and where they sit in that. But that on the flip side, some of us fell too deeply, too quickly into it by just wanting to use language as a weapon against others and kicking others out to make us feel more powerful. And I don't feel like she was particularly talking about black folk. I think she's talking about white people. But something for us to all learn. Quick, easy read, girl. Learned a lot. Okay, last up. This is a professor that I want to work with at Vanderbilt, so I had to go buy her book and therefore read her book. The Politics of Public Housing. It's about black women's struggles against urban inequality, by Dr. Rhonda Williams, who's now a professor at Vanderbilt. I did read this last year because you can't go and tell somebody you want to work with them and apply for your PhD and have them be your mentor essentially and have not read their works. So this ain't really something that y'all can just go pick up and read on your own. I do feel like this, again, is something that you need a collective of people. A lot of references, a lot of research. It's a historical presentation. Okay? That's what I read last year. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment. Girl, what did you read last year? What are you planning to read next year? If you ain't got nothing to say but what's already been said, leave an emoji. Just put a thumbs up emoji. Put a heart. Put something. Engage. It helps a sister out. I keep wanting to say ho, but I don't know ho.